Okay, so I'm covering a very interesting topic today, being estrogen, which is the woman's hormone. And estrogen is very much responsible for everything that makes us a woman. It's responsible for our femininity, of course, the fact that we've got breasts, the fact that, again, we're lubricated, we've got soft skin, we've got a high pitched voice. These are the things that make us a woman. And of course, this is what estrogen is responsible for, and we're very, very different to men. However, the interesting part about hormones is we women are dominated with estrogen and men are dominated with testosterone. You would know that. But the interesting thing is that even though we women are dominated with estrogen, we actually have testosterone as one of our three sex hormones. That's estrogen, testosterone and progesterone. The men who are dominated with testosterone actually have estrogen too. So no, you're thinking, well, hang on, Louise, men don't look like us. They haven't got, the breasts like us, and, they're not high-pitched voices like us. No, but they definitely need some estrogen in their bodies, and they have it. So here I've got a list of different things that you can see. On the left hand side is we women and what we're known for because of our estrogen. The men are on the right hand side with their testosterone. So we've got the soft skin, they've got the tough skin. We've got the high voice, they've got the low voice. We've got the soft hair and they've got the coarse hair. I'm talking hair on the head. But we've got fine body hair and men have got coarse body hair, and it is much more over their body. They've got longer hair on their legs, they've got hair on their chest. Some men will have hair on their backs. So you've probably seen all that. The hair on their arms is a lot thicker and a lot more of it than we women have. We're curvy, they're muscular. We have breasts, they've got flat chests. So you can see that there's quite a difference again, even though both of us have each other's hormones in our body, which is pretty fascinating, really. Now, a male body uses estrogen, now this is our hormone, for their sperm production. But having too much would enhance their breast size and change their vocal pitch, of course, and that might well happen out there because hormones are those things that you just can't control. So if a man, if you do come across a male who's got a very high-pitched voice and you might see him having some unusual, little perky breasts there, that the chance of that will be the fact that his estrogen levels are out of whack, and he would need to seek medical help for that. But if you've seen a man with enhanced breast size out there who's extremely overweight or obese, then more than likely he will be, basically his breast will be there because of a lifestyle or poor lifestyle choices. And that's the fact that, again, too much fatty foods and foods that are just not serving the body. So it's just, again, an awareness thing. And women need testosterone for the growth, for our growth, for babies when we have a baby. So very important that we've got that testosterone, and also for our reproductive tissues and our bone mass, which is really important because we want to avoid osteoporosis at every opportunity that we have. Now, we can have too much testosterone and we can also have too little. So remember I said that testosterone is the male hormone, and we do have a little bit of it, but we need a certain amount for everything to balance beautifully in our body. So towards the end of perimenopause and at postmenopause, a woman might actually have way too much testosterone simply because the estrogen has depleted out of her body faster. And so if that was to happen, some of the symptoms a woman would experience would be, say, mood swings, face acne, facial hair, a deepening of her voice, increased sex drive, which of course for some people, some women, that's a very unusual thing, and weight gain. And of course, that's one of those things that a lot of people struggle with. But, again, weight gain can very much be a lifestyle thing, but I'm talking about a hormonal weight gain. So if a woman knows that she's doing everything that she possibly can to keep her weight in check, but she's still putting on excessive weight gain, it simply might be that she's got too much testosterone. That's when she's got to go to a GP and get things checked out. But of course, hormones are unpredictable, and a woman could have too little testosterone, and that will result in different symptoms like a lack of energy and a thinning of the hair, including the pubic hair. And then a decrease in the muscle mass, and we don't want a decrease in muscle mass. We need and want muscle mass on our bodies from perimenopause onwards. And then bone loss, and we certainly don't want bone loss as well. So, you know, feeling unwell and a decrease in sex drive, so totally opposite to having too much testosterone. Too little testosterone is also quite detrimental. So if you've got any of those symptoms that sound like you, I would advise you go and speak to your GP about it and see if they need to do any testing to check where your current hormone levels are at. Okay, so knowing your dominating hormone is estrogen, it's important that you know that there's 3 actual estrogens that work within the one chemical messenger, and these are estradiol, estrone, and estriol. So even though I say we're dominated with estrogen, the estrogen hormone's not just one hormone. If you were picturing a little, you know, chemical messenger running around in your body, or plenty of them, they're actually broken into 3 different categories. Now let's have a look at those 3 different categories. The estriol is pretty much not doing much. It's basically supporting the estradiol and the estrone, but it's there and it's necessary. So they all link in together. It's all part of it. If estrol wasn't there, you wouldn't have a functioning estrogen hormone. All right, now estradiol. Estradiol is there to support the reproduction, and reproduction is vital with progesterone, and they are, as I said earlier, the 3 sex hormones. So you've got estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So estradiol and progesterone need to be together and be working for the production of a baby, making sure that everything is secure and the baby's, you know, well looked after, and is, you know, again, nothing can harm that baby with estradiol. Estrone is distributing fat around your body. It's saying, well, okay, if we're reproducing and we're having babies, we need to make sure the baby's cushioned, is safe. I'll provide the fat for that. And so you'll notice that your fat distribution, if you have been pregnant, will have changed. You might have put more fat on around your lower body than your upper body, for example, because it was protecting you for that baby and getting you ready to have that baby. Once the baby is born, the estrone then becomes the center of attention, because the estradiol's done its job. Estriol is still sitting there fluffing around and having a little bit of a layback, and estrone's going, well, it's my turn to shine right now. And whilst it's been putting fat in the areas of your, you know, your tummy and your bottom and your thighs and maybe your arms and your face, then it will continue to do that. And so from perimenopause on, when estrone even, you know, again, is consistently trying to place fat where it wants it to go, it's not where we want it to go. So estrone is most definitely not our friend. Okay, so prior to perimenopause, estrogen for most women will do its job on its own. We don't have to try and work it to do anything for us. We've taken it for granted all our lives because it behaves itself and it keeps the female body looking and feeling very feminine. It's disease-free, it's got soft skin, pain-free, lubricated, plump, strong, healthy and flexible. But with the fluctuation and depletion of a woman's 3 sex hormones that I spoke about, the testosterone, progesterone and estrogen, those deficiencies create miserable symptoms for many women from the time of perimenopause. And of course, women are really struggling to manage their own well-being at this stage of life, because what they've been used to, the way they've looked, the way they've felt, has all suddenly changed. So many women just put up with menopause, and they put up with the symptom changes, and they just don't understand what's happening to their bodies. But they don't, you know, again, they weren't educated when they grew up about menopause and what to expect and what to do about it. So without knowledge, how on earth could they know what to do? How on earth could you know what to do if you haven't been educated on what to do? But the thing we need to understand is, now this is the most important thing that I can share with you here. You have had estrogen in your body from the day you were born, and your estrogen has been working beautifully for all the things that I said here. You know, everything's been going great and we've taken it for granted. But then what happens at perimenopause and then into postmenopause is that estrogen and those other hormones, progesterone, testosterone, are leaving the body. And when estrogen has completely left your body at postmenopause, your body is then without it. And without estrogen in your body, the symptoms that you could be experiencing, the fatigue, the vaginal dryness, the insomnia, the hot flushes, the weight gain, the urinary tract infections, all those things, plus plenty more, will actually take over your life. And the worst thing still, and I'm not saying you'll have all those symptoms, but some of them you may experience, but it then opens us up. Without our protective hormone of estrogen, we are now more susceptible to disease in our bodies than we ever have been before. So whilst estrogen protected us as women from all diseases, we are now at risk of disease because it was the estrogen hormone that did protect us. When you don't have it there anymore, there's nothing there to protect us. It doesn't mean you will get disease, but your risk of getting disease is most definitely increased, and that's what's really frightening. That's what we've got to be very aware of. So, you know, many women just put up with those menopause symptoms, as I said, and the education has actually failed to let women know that they can go into estrogen deficiency from perimenopause on, and with that deficiency, the hormones are leaving. If they're not replaced, then things like heart attack, Alzheimer's, stroke, and osteoporosis will actually be more susceptible to be open to a woman than ever before. And the thing we've got to realise is worldwide, heart attack is the #1 killer of women worldwide. And Alzheimer's is usually around number 2 or 3 worldwide. But where I am in Australia, Alzheimer's is actually #1 killer of women, and heart attack is #2. Now with Alzheimer's, 90% of women in nursing homes are there because of either Alzheimer's, osteoporosis, and they usually are not there because of heart attack or stroke because they haven't lived to tell the story. Okay, now I don't want to frighten you, but I think we do definitely need to have a really big breakthrough and listen to this again if you need to, because it's vital. The window of the 5 to 10 years is absolutely vital that I've got here. There's a small window that women can safely replace their estrogen, and that is the first 5 to 10 years after a woman has had her last menstrual cycle. All right, let me say that again. If you have had your last menstrual cycle in the last 5 to 10 years, let's say up to 10 years ago, and I'm not talking 10 and a half or 11 years ago, but I am saying 9 and a half to 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. If you have had your last menstrual cycle, whether you've got symptoms or not, it would be very sensible and safe for you to have an estrogen replacement in your body. And there's many ways that you can do that, whether you, again, take something for it, wear a patch. There's all different things. You need to talk to your GP as to what's going to suit your body. But by doing that, by replacing your estrogen levels, you will decrease your risk of heart attack, Alzheimer's, osteoporosis, and stroke, and many other diseases significantly. So it's most definitely something that you must talk to your GP about. And I know you might say to me, but Louise, I've heard all about HRT and apparently it's very dangerous. Well, you know what? We are so misinformed, and it's very, very sad that we are misinformed, because when we hear something from a study, and there was most definitely the most expensive study ever put towards HRT was done some years ago, many years ago now, but the reporting and the findings of that was very inaccurate, and it was misconceived many times over, to the point where medical practitioners were too afraid to actually prescribe it to their female clients, simply because they were so worried about women taking legal action on them should they have got or had a heart attack, Alzheimer's, a stroke, osteoporosis. But at the end of the day, the reason why, again, we are definitely pushing women, and all doctors are now pushing women who are in that 5 to 10 year window to have replacement therapy, is because we now know that that information was inaccurately passed forward. And so therefore you will actually decrease your risk of those diseases if you take it in that window. If you take it after that window, 10.5 years, 12 years, 20 years, down the track past your last menstrual cycle, then you actually increase your risk of diseases, of heart attack, Alzheimer's, stroke, osteoporosis, and other diseases. You will increase your risk. So it is not safe to take it after the 10-year window. All right, I hope that hasn't confused you, but that's something that is super important. So you might be saying, well, hang on, Louise, you've just dropped a bombshell on me. What do I do now? I'm outside of that 10-year window. Do I just sit here and do nothing about it and wait for disease to attack me? Well, no, you most definitely do not. There's always something that can be done, okay? So if estrogen replacement is not for you, then what you can definitely consider is healthy lifestyle choices. That would be my very first recommendation for you. Now, have a look at your diet, because I know, working in the industry for as long as I have, which is heading close to 40 years now, women will tell me way too often when I ask them about their nutrition, they'll say, Louise, I eat pretty good. But when we break it down, we notice that the everyday glass of wine, 2 or 3 of them, the everyday, I really haven't had enough water, but gee, I've had a lot of tea and coffee. The everyday, but I love my cheeses, and like I really can't do away with those those lovely foods that I love on crackers and dips and stuff like that for my afternoon snacking. And when I ask them about their sweets and their chocolate fixations that they've got, then when we break it down and we actually look at their fats in their diet and their processed carbohydrates in their diet, and we realize that they're not having enough fruit, they're not having enough fresh green vegetables and different other seasonal vegetables, they're not having enough nuts and seeds and beautiful fresh foods in their diet, they're having way too much of all the wrong foods. And when you add that up day after day, it makes a difference. I am very much a promoter of the Mediterranean diet and a follower of the Mediterranean diet. I think it's got a lot of good things going on in there, and the olive oil for the fats. Women are afraid of having fats, but of course if they're bad fats, absolutely. But olive oil and avocados and coconut oil, they're good for us, okay? They're the things where once we've got the knowledge and we're eating well, you are then protecting your body significantly than putting foods in that are poisoning and toxic to your body. So again, if you're a woman that's past that 10-year window, please check your diet. Because if it's important to you, you will change it. I'm not saying you've got to cut the lovely little things that you enjoy out completely, but watch how much you're having. How often are you having it? because it makes a massive difference. Okay, now there's other ways as too. There's vitamins and minerals and bioidentical hormones and herbal remedies and non-herbal medications. So, you know, again, there's many things that you can, or many people you can go and see, things that you can do if you're past that 10-year window. But do not give up and just say, oh, it's too late, I'm doomed, because you most definitely are not. So again, if it's a lifestyle choices that you need assistance on, speak to me about it. Have a look at my website, because there's programs on there that will assist you in the comfort of your home to make the best choices for your well-being. Okay, the other thing, of course, is go and speak to your local herbalist if you would like to, for all those other alternative methods, or speak to your healthcare pharmaceutical companies and things like that. There's places that do bioidentical pharmacies and things like that. They're definitely out there. You've just got to find what's going to be best for you and your lifestyle. So I hope you've enjoyed that about estrogen. I hope you've learned at least one thing, if not a number of things, from what I've shared with you today.